Hello and welcome back to my channel. Of course, my name is Robin. You can see it right there, Robin's Reading Journal. This video is to show you my reading journal for 2025. There's some notations in it already, and I'll discuss those with you as the video goes on. What you have in front of me, in front of you, is my iPad Pro. I've got my iPad pencil in my hand. This is just an image right here. There's a beautiful succulent on the page, and that's how it was set up. Now, this journal was created and specifically and customly designed for me by Kristen Adams, who is Cat's Creation 614 on Etsy, and I will leave her in the store below. So before we go any further, let's make sure that this doesn't time out. So we just went to settings. So we're starting here, and I'm going to tap the screen. You see that one of 1009? That changes quickly, but that tells you how many pages are in this journal. So my journal is 1009 pages long. The journal that Cat creates for you might be bigger, might be smaller. It might be 300 pages. It just depends on how many books you think you'll be reading in a year. So again, this is the cover page. And something else I'd like to show you. In GoodNotes, you can select scroll in direction, which is right here, and you see it comes up in black up there, to be either vertical or horizontal. Let me show you. So now it's horizontal, but I want it to be vertical just for the sake of this video. So we're going to hit vertical. So that's just a setting that I chose while I'm making this video, because I think it will be easier to scroll like this while I show you the journal. So without any further ado, let's get started. This is my title page, or my name page rather. This journal belongs to Robin Taylor. And you'll see the icons at the top of the screen. You see the document content area there. You see that is your outline. I'll just show you each one. So right now, by the way, I have this in read-only mode, so I can quickly select whatever content I'd like. When I change this over to edit mode, I'll have all these features, which I'll discuss some of them briefly. This is not a GoodNotes tutorial. This is simply me demonstrating this planner to you. So the first one if you hit this one on green, I'll do it with my left hand. If I tap that, it brings me to this page, which I'm already on. This is the helpful info page. Here on the right is a thank you from Kristen for purchasing this, and she has all of her socials in case she needs to be contacted. And let me tell you, she's responsive immediately whenever you have a need. Over here on the left, right here, you see bookish links, Goodreads, Amazon, NetGalley, Book Blogs, YouTube. So she has linked this to my pages, my socials. So if I hit that for Goodreads, it comes up to my Goodreads page whenever it decides to do that. It's the end of the year, and Goodreads, I'm sure, is being inundated with people looking for their 2025 reading journals. So, okay, so it did come up. And as you can see, it has my year in books of 2024. I'm currently not reading anything because it's almost the first. We go back to here. If I click NetGalley, that's the review site. You say yes, that you want to go to an external link, and this brings me to my NetGalley page. Over here, I just click Book Blog just to show you one more. And if I click that, it brings me to my blog. So the only hesitation in loading the Goodreads one is simply because I'm sure millions of people are going back and forth on that page. Add a little bit of light. Yeah, that looks better. Okay, so here she tells us what fonts she used. And she used the California Solid, Oakland, California. And, whoops, I'm sorry, I don't need to go to that. And then these are the hex codes for the colors that she used in the planner. So let's say I wanted to write something in this color here, this color right here that I'm tapping. I can simply just put in that hex code, and I don't have to look for that exact shade of that color. But again, this is not a GoodNotes tutorial, so we're going to go on. Now, we can go through this by tabs, but we'll just do that for a couple more times. If we hit that pencil, it brings us to the Notes tab. She gave us blank, lined, dark grid, and graph. So you'll see a blank sheet, a lined sheet, a dark grid sheet, and a graph sheet. Any of these sheets can be copied or duplicated, I should say. So if I wanted to duplicate this page right here, I would just put recent template and go just like that. And now I have two of the same pages. If you'd like me to break down GoodNotes, that's a different thing altogether. Just let me know. All right, so now we're going to look at the tabs at the top of the page. And I want to see if I can zoom in a little bit for this part. So let's do that. I will zoom back out in a moment. You have goals, bookshelves, arcs, series, authors, publishers, challenges, favorites, stats, yearly, and template. That's all the wonderful tabs that she gave me at the top. But now, if I move my tablet over, as I am going to zoom out in a minute, you see these monthly tabs at the right side. So January through December. So you get your tabs on the top and your tabs on the right. So let's go back to our regular Zoom. And we're going to hit the very first tab, which is goals. So when you go into goals, you have 3 items. You have last year reflection, reading goals, and anticipated releases. This is not fully filled out because I read a lot of stuff ahead of time, but I think when I start to think about 2026, I will do more with this, but I wanted to show you this that I did fill out. This is my last year reflection for 2024, and I did duplicate and made a page for 2025 so that I can do it as each month goes by. But for right now, if we look at last year reflection, and again, last year being 2024, it asks how many books did I read? I said 390, which is how many I read. Did I reach my goals? And the answer to that is yes. My favorite of last year was The Women by Kristen Hanna. And these are the 12 books that I considered my favorite each month. Interestingly, 3 of them are nonfiction. Well, two of them are nonfiction. One is a classic, I mean. So The Count of Monte Cristo, Atomic Habits, and The Unquiet Mind. The other ones are all fiction, but I just wanted to show you that. So your next page, which like I said, I made this for 2025. It wasn't included, but once you duplicate the exact page, it will stay in that index. And I want to tap the screen. You see where it says 7 of 10, 10? Let me see if I can keep that there for a moment. 7 of 10, 10. Look at where the pencil is pointing. That means that if I duplicate this page multiple times and I hit that tab for last year reflection, it will bring me right back here. That's a great feature of GoodNotes. The next page is reading goals. Now, this is for 2025, so I could simply, let's just edit this for a moment. So I want to just make this for 2025. So I simply just have to go into the text field and type 20, whoops, I'm making a typo, 25. I could have went into the numbers. So there it is, 2025. My reading goals for 2025 are there. I want my net gallery percentage to at least get to 74. I think I'm at 63 right now. I'd like to read more historical fiction, more self-help, and more psychological thrillers. I haven't decided any particular authors I want to read about or other bookish goals. Actually, I do have other bookish goals. You want to know what that is? Review every book that I read. Review each book that I read. I don't know why I have caps lock on. Let's redo that. Review each. That's something that I would like to do in 2025. Okay, So that's one of my bookish goals for next year. So that shows you how easy it is to edit if you don't make a lot of typos. I'm sorry, I moved the text box down. Let's move it back up. Okay, here, physical books on my TBR. You can add books in, and I'll show you how this ARC shelf works in a few moments. And then I want to read. I haven't filled this in because I mostly read ARCs and library books, so I don't know what I'm going to do with this area. I might even make a template to cover it and use this whole area for something else. Again, that's a good notes feature. The next page is anticipated releases, and now we're looking at, let me just show you what we're looking at. We're looking at last year reflection, which we saw, okay? Oh, I'm in edit mode. Last year reflection brought us there, okay? Reading goals brought us here. And then anticipated releases, I'm not holding the pencil correctly, is here, January through December. Now, I'm not sure how I'm going to fill this in. Like, I did put something right there. I have ARCs, so I have to figure out how I want to use this page, but I'll figure out a way because I think everything is useful in this planner. So we're going to go past anticipated releases and look at bookshelves. Now, in the TBR shelf, if I tap that, I have it blank because my TBR shelf is my backlist for NetGalley, which is hundreds of books, and I don't know if I have the endurance or patience to fill this in. But that would be my TBR shelf, my physical shelf, and my digital shelf, which of course could be my backlist shelf. My audio shelf. Now I might use this because I do consume a lot of audiobooks each year. Like in 2024, I read 79 audiobooks. So this shelf is most likely to be filled in. Let's say I just find absolutely no use for this shelf at all, which I don't know yet. I can always hit these three dots here, and I can move that page to the trash and forget it forever. But for now, since we don't know how I want to use it, we're going to leave it. Then we go to the next tab, which is ARCs. And by the way, the tabs are right here. You see, ARCs. We were just in bookshelves, but now we want to go to ARCs. So every time you see this background with the flower, you know that I went to a new tab. So for the ARCs shelf, she put in a digital bookshelf, which I did fill in for 2025. For January, I filled it in completely because I don't think I'm going to get any more January ARCs. But if I do, I left room for February so I can always move some of these February titles down and just put more January. But right now, these are what I have in my possession. January, February, I have some of March's. I have some in April. I have a few May ARCs, no June, no July yet. I do have 3 August ARCs and nothing else for the rest of the year. Now, I was talking to somebody on one of the groups, and she was thinking to do one of two things. I set this key right here at the bottom, this key. I set the key by genre. There's 2 other ways that people are talking about making this key. You can make the key as to books that you have read, ARCs that you have read throughout the year, or you can make the key ARCs that you're reading throughout the year that are based in different years. Let's say, for example, in my ARC shelf, I just reduplicate this page right here over and over again like I already have. You see ARC shelf, ARC shelf, ARC shelf. I could just put all the ARCs that I read in 2025, and then as I read them, I can highlight them. So I might change this, and I don't know yet. I just have to get more feedback from some of the other users. So we're going to bypass all these ARC shelves because, like I said, I don't have anything for November yet. I don't have anything for December. Then for ARC pub dates, I just grabbed, copied and pasted from NetGalley my January, my February. I know that's probably difficult for you to read. And I did do a little bit more. I put some March in and some April, and I put some May. I think I may have put, yes, I did put August. I remember doing that now. And then September through December, I don't have anything yet. Here, I was just tracking what I was reading in December, but now that I'm happy with December, I'm actually going to get rid of this page because we don't need it anymore. See, it's gone. I don't need that page. So this is November and December. Remember, no arcs. So the very next page is arcs at a glance. So I want to go back to arcs, that tab, and here you see arcs at a glance. That's the page that I was just showing you. And you see that I have it filled in. January, February, March, and so on. Now, I've done a few tweaks to this. The first thing I did is an automatic thing that you would do is you would copy in your book cover. But the tweaks that I did is if I read the book, I put the sticker read. Now, I actually read this first book here. Copy, paste. Okay, so you see I made these little stickers. So read means that I read these books. That's up a little high, but bring it down. Okay, and so these are the other arcs I have for January so far, and as you can tell, which I haven't read and which I have for blog tours. I did that for February. Did I read any books in February already? Yes, I've already read His Other Wife, and I've read Their Dying Embrace, and I've read Fresh Start at Bluebird Cottage, which ended up being a December release, so I've got to move that over. And then we have March. I did read a March book already. Finley Donovan Rose, the Digs Her Own Grave. April, I haven't read any arcs. May, doesn't look like I've read any. I thought I read something from April. Oh, maybe I didn't. Okay, May, June, and so forth. So that's my arcs at a glance, okay? So we're going to go back to that. And I just want to put this in the read-only mode so I can do that. So I can show you the next one is Review Tracker. I've already started filling this in, but not in this area. Review Tracker also appears at the end of each month. I already put this at the end of January, but I am going to move everything over. Actually, let me just show you how I'm going to do that. Monthly reviews. I want this, January, monthly reviews. I would much rather have this. I want to make sure it lassos. No, we don't want to do that. Well, I want to move everything over, but I don't want to lasso it the wrong way. Okay. You see how I'm using a lasso? So let's say I grab this and I hit copy. And then we go back to the ARCs page. And we go to Review Tracker. I want to put those here. Now let's do that. Trust the process. So there we go. So I think I'm going to track my arcs over here. So you just see how quickly using the lasso feature I was able to move things over. I think I'm going to make this my yearly page. So this Review Tracker page I'm going to make copies of. So I want to, I'll show you with the pencil. I hit the add. I want to add the same template, but I want to add it after. So after is already selected. And so if I hit that, now I have another Review Tracker page. If I want to do it again, after. So now I think this would be a nice page to have that will have all of my reviews. In fact, I want to do something with this page. I want to add this page to my outline, and I'm going to call it my Review Tracker, and I'll show you what this means later. Okay, so that's Review Tracker. So we've got a few of those, and now we have NetGalley Tracker. I love this page, and I'm definitely looking forward to reading this. This, you can log how many arcs you have and what your feedback ratio is by the end of the month. at the beginning of the month, and then at the end of the month, which how many arcs you have now, and what your feedback ratio is at the end of the month. My feedback ratio moves very, very slowly because I have hundreds of arcs yet to read. Just want to move this other iPad out of the way. Now, as I mentioned, my ratio is going to move slowly, but I'm still going to fill this section in. The next one for Neck Alley Tracker, she has read this month, newly approved, currently unread, and feedback ratio. So there's 2 ways to track it, and I most likely will use both ways. Now we're going to series, right? So how are we going to series? 2 ways. It's right there, the tab, or it happened to be the next page after Neck Alley Tracker. And here you can start tracking all of the series you have. I read dozens of series, so I'm not quite sure how I'm going to do that, but I do have a book by Robert Dugoni, which I believe is the 3rd or 4th book in the series, so I'm thinking about creating this, but I haven't fully decided. But there's plenty of room for me to use it, and I can add more if I need it. Again, Robert Dugoni, remember I said I was going to try to do something? I guess I did. So I did put his name, I did put the series, Tracy Crosswhite, and all of the books in that series, more books than I thought. I don't know if I'm going to maintain the series overview for all of the series that I read, but if I do, this is where I would do it. So she gave us plenty of templates, and like I said, we can always, let me go back to series, we can always add more templates if we need to, okay? So then the next tab she has is authors, which I have started to fill this in. So if you go to your first page, you have your alphabetical authors. So now your authors can be sorted by their last name. So I've already done a couple in F. So we're going to tap F and see what F brings up. My pencil's acting very funny today. So I'm going to just use my finger. I don't understand. I think it's charged. Let's see. Yeah, it's fully charged. So I don't know why it's acting up. All right, so I have one author here in F, which is Lori Foster. But then I had I had another author that I'm going to be reading, which is Alex Finley. So Lori Foster, the F is the only page here. So I used the duplicate page and I told the template to go before. So let's say I have an alphabetical author that begins with FA. I can create a page that can go before this. So now I can put author last name A. So that's the author page. And I have to go a little bit faster because this is taking a long time, but don't hesitate to message me or to ask me in the comments if you have any questions. We're going to jump to publishers. Publisher library. I gave Kristen a list of the most frequently read publishers I use, but then I modified it a little bit to kind of bring in everything. Like, for example, I gave her Area, but I realized that I read Atria, so I have put this here, but I haven't gone to the hex code and matched that color. But if I tap that, which I'm going to use my finger because my pencil is not always responsive. So if I tap Atria, it brings me to the 4 books that I have for Atria for 2025. If we go back and we hit Hyperion Avenue, I happen to have 2 from Hyperion Avenue. I'm just trying to think of St. Martin's Press. I'm sure I have yes, I have quite a few from St. Martin's Press. So you just copy and paste your arcs into here. Now, I'm showing you the planner. If you'd like to see how I do this and bring in the book covers, that's a separate video. Just let me know in the comments below. Next one she has is challenges. When Kristen started making me this planner back in 2023, I used to participate in a lot of challenges. I don't participate in them anymore, but she did give me a few here that I can add. And if there's any more, let's say we get to the last one here. This is the last one. If I wanted to add more challenges in, I would just hit this plus sign right here, and I would hit after, and I would use the template and just put it after. So if I want to continue in more challenges in 2025, she gave me all this room to do the challenges. I just haven't decided yet what challenges I'm going to do for 2025. Then we have favorites. I haven't had anything here yet because I haven't read anything in 2025 yet. But my favorite books that I'm getting for 2025 will go there. My favorite audiobooks will go there. If I have any quotes that I love, they'll go here. And I'm happy for this page because there's always a quote every now and then that I grab and I want to remember, but then I forget later. So I'll put them here. And if I use that page up, I can just put another page right there. Then my favorite genres. I don't know how I'm going to use this because the favorite genres by author would be hard to distinguish what genre they are. So I haven't quite figured that out yet. And then we move on to the stats page. So if you look at the top here, you see stats. So I'm going to go back to favorites so I can go fresh into stats. I just wanted to go fresh into it. In the stats page, she has daily reading, monthly diversity, books and pixels, mid-year check-in, year-end check-in, and yearly stats. This is going to be a lot of fun to fill in. So let's say it's January 1st, which is tomorrow, and I read, I have to make a key. I haven't made a key yet. So once I make a key, let's say I make this key, we're just going to make a quick key. So let's say I make this key in red, okay, for 300 to 350 pages, okay? Then for January 1st, so like I made that key for 300 to 350, so let's say today I read 350 pages, I can just simply come over here and add the key. Now I'm doing this through the camera, so I can't be very precise with the pencil. That might be what the problem is. So I've got to fill in this key. I'll decide on a key sometime today and I'll create the key, and then I can track my daily reading by pages, and then my diversity, genres, and now books and pixels. That's something different. So we're going to go back to stats, and you see books and pixels is the third one, okay? Oh, I have to go down manually. So books and pixels is going to be fun because I have started to create stickers for, let's see, stickers. No, that's photos. I'm sorry. I've started to create stickers for pixels. So you see these stickers right here, these solid colors? I did create these already. I just haven't decided how the key is going to be here at the bottom. So this is just me creating stuff ahead of time. So I just wanted to show you that. Then books and pixels, so we do it by source, format, page length, setting, publication date, and audience. That's going to be a lot of work in the beginning, but since I already created a key with the stickers that you see just popped up on the top here, I'll be able to fill that in. Mid-year check-in. I didn't do this in 2024, but now I'll be able to see how I feel halfway through the year, and then at the end of the year, how I felt about all the books at the end of the year. And then a little bit more that I can add for the end of 2025. But I decided to create a year-end check-in for 2024 simply by duplicating this page right here. Just quick duplication. And then I put the 8 categories there. Best Book of the Year, Chris and Hannah's The Women. Best Sequel of the Year, Passions and Death by J.D. Robb. New release on the shelf that I want to read, Lisa Jewell's Don't Let Him In. Best Audiobook of the Year was Beautiful Ugly. Books outside my comfort zone was Accidentally Amy because I don't like spice and romance. I used to, but no longer. Book that is my biggest surprise was Let's Call Her Barbie. I didn't think I would be interested, but it was fascinating to see what Renee Rosen wrote about the history of the Barbie doll and the company that created it. Book by a new author I loved, The Gifts of Imperfection. I had never read Brene Brown before, but that was a great book. And then underrated gem I have loved is 36 Hours by Angela Marsons. I did a little bit more here. Book that wasn't my favorite, which was J.C. Burton's Backup Bride Proposal. I think I gave that 3 stars. A book that made me cry this year was Guilty Mothers by Angela Marsons. A book that made me happy was The Mother Terrier by David Rosenfeld. And favorite diverse book this year was A House Built on Slaves. And it's too, I can't read that author. Now, this yearly stats page is set for 2025, but I created a page ahead of that. I want to move this over. I'm kind of doing a little bit of editing while I talk to you. So what I did is I used this template to track what I did in 2024. So this is everything I did in 2024. And I can kind of show you how many books I read, how many were audiobooks, how many were ARCs, how many pages, how many hours, average, and so forth. So that's what yearly stats is, and I will be doing this fresh in January. And then I will fill in the bottom 2 rows. Since I did this at the end of the year, I didn't bother filling in the bottom 2 rows. So once I know what my feedback percentage is for January, I'll put it there. When I know how many books I still have, I'll put that there. Then we're moving into January. So how are we moving into January? We're going to this one right here. It's on the left. So I hit February so I can jump back to January. Each month, January through December, has these 6 tabs: ARC calendar, blog tour calendar, monthly TBR, monthly reviews, what I read, and monthly wrap up. By the way, there's one tab I didn't click, which is yearly, and we're going to go back to that later. It's important to do that later. If I hit ARC calendar for January, you can see I've already started to fill it in. I highlighted the ARCs that I've read already for January. My January blog tour page. These are all the blog tours I have for January. I try to decorate it a little bit, as you can see, with those stickers. There's a few other stickers. I put the list of blog tours right here, and if I wrote and scheduled the blog tours already, I've already noted it, but there are some that I have not yet done. I see at least, well, here I only see, there's 3 more blog tours I have to do for January. My monthly TBR, which I will get from NetGalley, and maybe some from the library, depending on if I'm doing backlist titles. Here, book clubs, challenges, buddy reads, and just because I don't do buddy reads and I don't do book clubs, so I could always create a sticker to cover this and put some other information that's important to me. I just have to decide what I would like to do with that. Review tracker. Remember I said that I was going to do that yearly. This is my January review tracker, and I just had an epiphany. I'm going to keep this here for everything that's due in January. And then I will also copy it over and have a running tab January through December in another spot. And the reason why is because the review tracker also appears at the end of each month. So that's kind of a nice little trick that I didn't even see. Here I'll start tracking the books that I read in January, and then my monthly wrap up. This just allows me to go up to 65 books because she knows I read a lot. And then the monthly wrap up, I'll put all my info here once I finish the month of January. Every month is the same like that, January through December. Now, what I didn't click intentionally was yearly. So, whoops, I clicked font. Yearly, I left this out for the end because I wanted to show you this. What I read this year is going to go right here, books I read in 2025. Yearly reviews. This is where I am going to write, I put something here because I was thinking about making another book the first. Well, actually, I kind of do know what I want to read the first of the month, but we'll leave that alone for right now. This says book 1, and it just goes on, and it goes, I think, to 650. She allowed me 650 of these templates for book reviews for January. For 2025. I can even add more templates and just change this number later if that's what I needed to do. But for right now, I don't need to do that. So if we go back to yearly, that was yearly reviews. Battle of the Books, that's going to be for 2025, but I made a template and I did it for 2024. Go back to yearly again. Honorable mentions. This is as I read throughout the year. Books that stand out to me will be filled in here. And my yearly wrap-up will go here. I might fill out this page for 2024, but I doubt it because I'd have to do a lot more backtracking, but this is going to be the end of that. And as I mentioned, she gave us some templates, so you can copy these templates and reuse them. I have to ask her what she suggests to do with this page. I'm not quite sure. And then she made a seasonal templates. And then she gave me some pages for reading challenges if I should like to join any. Like Reading Rivalry, for example. I used to love to do their challenges. So if I would like to jump into that, it's right there for me. And I think that's about it. Oh, there's one more thing, and this is a good notes thing, and this is why I need to know if you'd like me to slow my delivery down to explain a little bit about good notes. If you hit the 4 dots right here, let's do that with the pencil. Hopefully the pencil will respond. The first thing you'll see is thumbnails. These are all the pages in my planner. As like I said, it was up to 1,009, but I've added in a few extra pages. Remember I added in that Battle of the Books. That's a page I added in, so it has a couple extra pages. Then if there's pages that stand out, you can just put bookmarks on them so they're easy to find. I don't have to look for them. But I found something called outlines where I can make my little outline and it will tell me exactly what page and where it is. So for my arcs at a glance, it's right here. If I hit those 4 dots and I want to see what my reviews for 2025, starting in the first book, it'll be right here. So that's a Goodreads trick that I just discovered the other day. But that would be it. I don't want to do any Goodreads tutorial in this video because I'm not really qualified, although I must admit I do know the app pretty well now. So let's go to the beginning, and this is where we started, Robin's Reading Journal. So that's my reading journal that Kristen Adams from Cat's Creation on Etsy. Let's see if we can see her store. Let's see. See, there's her logo, Cat's Creation 614 on Etsy. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you with my next video.